Phineas Gage was a hard-working man who took part in the construction of railroads for a living. His job specifically was to help cut the railroad bed by placing explosives into the ground and making sure the path was stable. On September 13, 1848, while Gage was working on the Rutland and Burlington Railroad in Cavendish, Vermont, he placed explosives into the ground with a tamping iron and an explosion occurred. This explosion caused the tamping iron, which was in fact 13 pounds and 3 feet 7 inches in diameter, to pierce through his left cheek, brain, and all the way out of his skull. Through the entire incident, it was said that Phineas Gage did not lose consciousness and survived with a blinded left eye. After being treated, Gage's personality seemed to change. He went from a very organized, hard-working man to a rude guy who can't stick with his plans. For that reason, his previous construction company didn't rehire him again. Gage then went on his journey to find new jobs. First, he worked at a stable in New Hampshire, then traveled all the way to Chile to work as a carriage driver. In Chile, Gage was considered to be free of symptoms and completely healed from his injuries. Gage also traveled around to talk about his injury to other people. Years later, Gage started to get seizures and decided to move back home with his family. On May 21st in 1860, Gage died after a series of seizures and was buried on May 23rd. Jack Van Horn, an assistant professor at UCLA, tried to figure out where Gage's brain damage was. He discovered that about 4% of Gage's cerebral cortex was punctured and over 10% of his white matter was damaged. White matter is the part of the brain that contains nerve fibers, and this is what was thought to be the cause of his personality change. Gage's brain was similar to the brain of those with Alzheimer's and was then used as a standard to monitor brain trauma patients. The case of Phineas Gage was also used to contribute in finding the functions of certain brain parts, which helped doctors with brain surgery. Neurologist Moses Allen Starr had used Gage's brain as a comparison to other brains in order to see which part of the brain created which symptoms. He then realized that a mental symptom or change meant that there was a tumor in the frontal lobe of the brain. With this information, he treated a patient who wanted more mental energy and had a slowness and comprehension and removed his tumor. Phineas Gage's brain injury is what allows brain surgeons to do what they do today.